talk this.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
I'm your lone wolf. Couldn't save you. I needed to love you better, I guess. Host Madelyn.
I'm your daddy-o host, Emma.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's show. It's 6 weeks in gaming. It's mid-May.
Yeah.
Spring is here.
And next time I'll do this, we'll be already through Jeff's sweaty gamer season.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The sweats will be over.
Yeah.
So, look forward to Jeff's sweaty gamers.
Yeah. I always do.
Something will happen, maybe. Kingdom Hearts 4?
We'll see.
I'd lose my mind. I kind of need it. I feel like the world kind of needs it. Anyway, those are games that we haven't played.
Yeah.
It's 6 weeks in gaming. Emma's playing a Trails game, so we have to start there.
Yes! The Daybreak debrief.
Reen!
No Reen in this game.
Reen!
There's no Reen. Reen's in Tomodachi life right now.
Reen!
But we're doing the Daybreak debrief. Good news, I did slow down a little bit. I did not finish Daybreak.
Okay.
I just finished I finished all of chapter 4. So I'd been in the middle of chapter 3 last time, which was a girthier chapter than I had thought that it would be.
Okay.
It was longer than I thought was left in it. And then 4 was like a normal length chapter. 3 was just really beefy for some reason. It's going well. We continue to hunt down the Genesees. We now have 5 of 8, which, progress. And I'm sure nothing bad will happen once we have all 8. And we're definitely doing the right thing by collecting all of them.
That's usually how quests like that go.
Yeah. I've realized why I assume the script is still big, but it feels shorter. And it's because there's no mini games. I imagine as a casualty of moving to a new engine, they did not bring over a lot of the staples, so there's no fishing.
Oh my god.
I know.
Is it even a video game?
It's hard to say. There's no card games. Cooking's been really scaled down. There's no pom-pom party, which is the real tragedy. So that's why things move faster. How are you even
making it through?
I don't know. I do think, all the Trails protagonists so far have fished. I do think it would be really funny if Van is just the one that doesn't fish.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
And even if they do add fishing, somebody else fishes. Fairy fishes.
It's a good character idea.
He's got enough.
Unlikely to be carried through, but it's a nice thought.
He's a car guy, so he's got enough of a hobby, honestly. He doesn't need fishing.
Car guys, though, I think there's a big overlap between car guys and fishing guys.
Probably.
Like, compared to other types of guys, feels like the Venn diagram there is overlapping.
Yeah. I'm starting to figure out the new combat system more. I've sort of figured out how skills, how you unlock new, combat skills for yourself, which was something I didn't really internalize until the middle of chapter 3. So you have, your orbments, and you put your little stones in your orbment, and they have different elemental alignments. And so in a row of your orbment, if you put a certain amount of each element in, it unlocks, special skills that they can also do. So, stuff like following up with a second attack on a stunned enemy, or automatically gaining quick on every turn, or doing a bonus attack after using an attack art. So once you start figuring it out, the combat also gets a lot snappier, because you're just absolutely destroying them. The last couple bosses of chapter 4, where I really set up my orbments correctly, were sad little jokes. So there's that. It's a much more quick and aggressive combat style than most of the Cold Steel games. Also, so something I had heard about Daybreak going into it was that it was like the woke one.
The woke one.
I don't.
Well, it is when you wake up.
Yeah, you're right. It's at daybreak, so that's why it's the woke one. I don't really think that's a correct take on it. I've been thinking about this. So, you can't always tell someone's politics through the stuff that they write, right? I don't really believe in that. Sometimes you can.
Sometimes you can.
My read on Falcom's general writing staff is they're kind of normal conservative, right?
Okay.
But they are very invested in world building. So, Calvard being a more sort of generally progressive society than Erebonia, it's written that way, right? So these topics come up, they discuss like white supremacist groups, right, and racism, because they have those there, because they have more immigration than Erebonia. Yeah. And there's gay people over there in Calvard. But it's interesting because it's still written in a way where you can feel like grandpa.
Yeah.
Like Van asked our new party member for his pronouns upon meeting him because it was unclear in the way that he presents himself. And so it's like, that's cool, but then the rest of the party was like, he doesn't have boobs, Van. Come on. And there was also the flamboyantly gay villain, who's very fun, if very trope, very strong trope.
Sure.
He was talking about in this latest chapter, where we're stopping the invention of nuclear weapons, I should also mention.
Good. Maybe.
Was like, yeah, so this guy really wanted to create nuclear weapons, and I'm super hot, and he's gay, so I was like, hey man, I'll help you create nuclear weapons, let's have a little fling. And one of our team was like, that's how awful, that's so mean, taking advantage of him. And another one of the party is like, listen, he can love who he loves. But you are going to hell because you do kill people. Essential real quote from...
This is such a bizarre flavor of camp, this whole thing.
So yeah, we've gained our 5th employee who has hired themselves.
That's about how it happens at employee number 5.
Every single chapter ends with someone coming in and being like, I'm hired. And Van being like, sure.
Yeah.
I imagine all of their paychecks go down exponentially every chapter. I wish that they were more sort of extreme with it. Like, this new guy, Katra, also has, like, 2 robot companions. So I wish he came in and was like, I'm hired, and also...
And my robots.
My robot dog and my robot little flying guy also need a salary.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they just come in and it's sort of the same sort of joke every time. So I wish there was a little more comedic escalation. That's what I'm asking.
Maybe it'll build. Maybe they now realize it's established and...
Anyway, I'm having fun with Daybreak, although I feel less strongly about it, I think, than most of the Cold Steel games. It probably is about how I felt about Cold Steel 1.
Sure.
Right? Where it's like, things are warming up, I'm meeting these characters. I do think that the Arkwright Solutions team has stronger dynamics than the original Class 7 in the first Cold Steel. Like, I can imagine each of their dynamics with each other, and there isn't much overlap. Whereas with the original Class 7, you had a few different combinations where it was just like, they're nice to each other.
Sure.
In the same way that they're nice to whoever. So yeah, I'm having fun with it, but not a lot of like, Cold Steel 4, for all of its many flaws, always gave me strong feelings. This is pretty level. I played more Pocopia.
Oh, right. Did you kind
Uh,
of finish last time? I guess you were just
I
cleaning
did.
stuff
I
up.
rolled credits. I have not been playing as much as I was, but I've been playing it like once every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Doing like a little bit of like one project. Usually while I'm editing the podcast, actually.
Oh, nice.
I'm listening to it and I'm playing some Pocopia in the background.
Cool.
I might end up completing the Pokedex. I think a lot of what's left is like I just need to find sort of rare items that I can use for crafting very specific items.
Mm-hmm.
Plus like finding, you can go to like these dream islands, and sometimes there's like a legendary Pokemon there that you can invite home with you.
It's so interesting this game clicked with you.
Yeah?
I wouldn't immediately point at this and go, Emma Core.
I like a dollhouse.
That's fair.
This and Tomodachi Life are very much like hitting the I do like a dollhouse.
I guess what is in my head is that you played Animal Crossing for a while like everyone else, but I didn't feel like you like latched onto it. If I feel like I was in like middle latch onto it, I feel like you were middle low. And so that's what I associate these two games as genre, but I think you're right to point out the dollhouse element being much stronger in Pocopia and Tomodachi Life than it is in Animal Crossing to a certain extent.
Animal Crossing, I just never felt like I had very much to do.
Right.
I feel like in different ways, they do give me more stuff to do, more variety of stuff to do at given times.
Just interesting. Updating my little file on Emma Core.
Sure.
Dollhouse. Well, speaking of people inviting themselves to work on your ship, even though you have no money, I'm back on track with finishing a game a month. Sort of. I think I missed February or something. I have to go back and actually look at my notes.
But you've done 2 this month, right?
Well, I finished Citizen Sleeper 2, which I am counting as my April game. I finished it like May 3rd or something. That feels close enough to me. I probably could have pushed for it. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Once again, I did not find the space dice rolling of Citizen Sleeper 2 to be as challenging as advertised. And in fact, I think that this game is, with the exception of the missions, which, or the, whatever they're called, contracts, is significantly easier than Citizen Sleeper 1. Because you're almost never, with the exception of the tutorial, which I now recognize as like being very much like the first game, in a way that the rest of the game really isn't. You're pretty much never on a timeline, and you pretty much never want for resources. I spent the first third of the game or whatever with a permanent glitch die, which I just got used to, but also with a ton of money. I was never low on money. I was never a problem to buy fuel. It was never a problem to stay ahead of Lane chasing me from planet to planet. Ultimately, that part of the game all felt pretty chill to me. And then the contracts are just more or less unfair.
Yeah.
I did a good job on them for the most part. I think there was only like I don't know. There was one that I like failed. I didn't even really realize I failed, but whatever. So if you haven't played Citizen Sleeper, right, it's like dice rolling, and you're a android.
Yeah, you roll your dice at the beginning of like a turn.
Yeah,
and then so you can use those dice to take various actions.
Yeah, and so you're this like android who's basically working off the penalty of some human somewhere, and you've escaped from your captor, but there's like something wrong with you, and you need to figure out what it is. And so you and your buddy and your ever-increasing roster of buddies, which all the time, anytime somebody offered to join the ship, I said yes, and there were no consequences to that.
Yeah.
At a certain point, I sort of figured there has to be something that this will be a problem with. Like why would I ever say no? But it's not like they use
You
more
hate
resources or anything. Yeah, it was weird. But this game adds so in addition to like, you know, all sorts of tasks and meeting people and whatever on stations, it adds the contracts system where you and 2 of your crewmates go away on something that does have a little bit more time pressure on it. However, it also sucks. I didn't really figure out the push system until pretty deep in, because the menus in this game don't really make it clear how that works, in my opinion. Which is on me, I think, mostly. But it's just, your buddies are useless unless they roll like a 5 or a 6. The stakes of losing, of like hitting a miss on so many contracts are so high that it's just like not. It's not.
I mean,
fun.
they do have specialties also, like you do.
I know, but mostly they have a ton of things that they're bad at. Is what my experience was. It was like, oh, I'm looking for someplace where most of them don't have like specialties. They just have things that they get the base die roll on.
Really?
There's like one of them that has an up.
I just don't remember it being like that, but maybe I believe you. You played it more recently than me.
Whatever. My point being, they were almost useless, unless you got really lucky on dice, and it was just like you had to be so careful on those. I don't know. It just. There was one that I managed to finish on this. There was one that I got right, that I got through because I did figure out that you can like cheese one turn.
Yeah.
In the game. And I was like, okay, there's theoretically a way for me to get through this if I can get a glitch dice to come up positive. And I just have to like keep doing that until it happens. So I did. This game is mostly cheese proof, but I did cheese that one thing because it did not, like, I got some kind of like horribly unlikely roll. And it's like, it doesn't feel fair that I'm going to lose this entire contract over like my companion getting dice that I can't use and I only have one more turn and blah, blah, blah. So I felt like I also felt like the story just felt a little all over the place to me. And the ending, while sort of like touching, the kind of just like, you dream and then, spoilers, you don't actually wake up. Like, does the sleeper wake up? You don't know. I don't know. Still an engaging system. I'd play a Citizen Sleeper 3, but I didn't find the story on this one to be...
He's working on something else now.
Cool. That's probably good. I'm just saying, in theory, I enjoy the system. The world is interesting enough. I'd play a Citizen Sleeper 3, but the story felt like by expanding a little bit here, it started to feel so scattered that I wasn't invested enough in any one thing. And I didn't really ever have to choose. So that's my takeaway. Good game. Glad that I got around to playing it. All the stuff about how hard these games are is so overblown. Contracts kind of BS. The end.
Well, for me, I also played, speaking of my dollhouses, I also played plenty of Tomodachi Life.
Woo! They're so funny. I've been seeing so many Hamilton ones online. Which is such a weird little, but yeah.
So, Tomodachi Life, this one's living the dream. So you have like an island and you create Miis to live on your island. And you can decorate the island and make them, make friendships, and they'll fall in love with each other and fall out of love with each other, so on and so forth. There's also, what I'm really enjoying about this is, there's a place called the Palette House where you can make your own like creations to give the Miis. So you can make custom pets and custom books and custom movies and all these sorts of things. And I'm actually just finding it like really, like I'm not actually being artistic. I'm really just like copying things that exist in interpretation for Tomodachi Life, right?
Yeah.
But I find it really relaxing to use the drawing tools and just sort of like make little drawings that then turn into little creations that I then give to my Mies.
Emma's animation era is beginning.
But yeah, I'd like just, you know, sometimes just sitting there and being like, okay, I'm gonna draw a Siree from 100 Line now. And I'm just doing like, you know, the little blob body and the little details and stuff just with my finger on the Switch screen. It's very fun.
I liked, you know, during the pandemic, I had my whole I'm doing colored pencil Animal Crossing interpretations of characters' drawings, and that was fun and soothing. So I hear you. I get it.
And just making Mies too is fun, like playing around with all their different like customization things. And you can also do like face paint, like very robust face paint. So I made like the prince from Katamari by using the face paint feature, which was actually quite easy. Like for how elaborate the face paint is, you really it's just like adding like the side parts to the face and making like a rectangle to frame like the facial features. I think he looks pretty good.
He did look pretty good. I concur.
So yeah, it's just been like a very like really just dollhouse, like relaxing, turn off your brain. But occasionally, you know, they express a little bit of their own will to make it like a little bit unexpected. So there's a few relationships on the island right now that I would really honestly maybe prefer were not happening. But they did that themselves, so there's nothing I can do but subtly tear them apart whenever they're on a date.
Nice.
If I'm feeling petty about it.
Yeah.
I just made a Alan Wake.
Good.
I'm very proud of my Alan Wake. I made Nate from Baby Steps.
That one's crazy.
I think my latest one I made Yona. From Yona of the Dawn. She's pretty cute. So yeah, I'm having fun with that currently. Yeah.
You haven't lost them all to the King in Yellow?
I have not lost them all to the King in Yellow. Yes, I gave Elster from Signalis the King in Yellow, which is a scary book, of course. And they love to organize book clubs with the King in Yellow, where they talk about how much they can't stop thinking about the King in Yellow and how much they can't sleep because of them reading the King in Yellow and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty good. Let's see. The other thing I played but did not finish is Titanium Court by A.P. Thompson, I guess. I will talk about another game that he worked on later, I guess. Titanium's Court is a match 3 roguelike set in the castle of the Fays. And you have been declared their new queen for this performance. You're the understudy, though. So every time you go to war, you shift sort of the terrain around to make matches. And when you make matches of certain types of terrain, you get certain resources. And then once the beginning for the match 3 phase is over, you use those resources to create like little fairy units that come out of your base in order to defend it or attack other bases or gain more resources for you. I think it's high tide and low tide. So like in high tide, your fairy units are going about and you're trying to survive moving through like a map to get to like one of 4 bosses that are at the end that you can win through either offensive, which is like defeating the boss, defensive, which is surviving for a certain number of battles but without defeating the boss, or economic, where usually you can pay off the boss in some way to let you through. Or you can just watch a musical performance if you would prefer not to do the boss fight.
Similarly challenging. Similarly unpleasant.
And then once you've like gone through a successful sort of war, you can explore the castle, talk to various characters. Your attendant Puck mostly avoids you, but will honestly answer one question of yours every time you go through these phases. Sometimes he takes that very literally, though, so he gives you very little information every time. He does not expand on his answers very well. You have to ask a clarifying question next time, you know.
Yeah.
I've asked him only about useless stuff currently. There's another fairy on the court who thinks that they were dating, and Puck says no. And then next time I asked, but why do you think you were dating? And Puck said, I don't know.
Oh,
so
great.
we're having a good
lots of useful info coming.
Very charming game in presentation. It essentially just uses like static images that just sort of like slide and like appear around the screen. So like when you do something cool, it'll show you like basketball hoop, slam dunkin' images, or there'll be like little gestures that like jump over the screen. It's very, very charming looking. And of course, I like the match 3 aspect quite a lot. I did get to, I think, what would be like one of the big reveals of it, which I was very underwhelmed by.
Okay.
It seems like it wants to make a point about like consumption of stuff, right? Like the way people might move through various different forms of media, the way we call them content, we consume content, right? And while I think I see the point being made, it does feel a little bit like, yeah, man, but those guys aren't playing Titanium Court. You know?
Oh, I understand. The audience for that is not the audience who is experiencing this game. I gotcha.
Yeah. So for me, it just feels like I'm being condescended to a little bit.
Sure. Preaching to the choir a little bit.
Yeah. And also it doesn't, like, if you're going to talk about this, you have to implicate yourself as the designer a little bit too. And it does feel like it's not. It's like, well, I made this and that's cool, but you're consuming it and that's bad. And it's a little bit like, okay. Without getting into the like specifics of it. So I did put it down because I was doing my theme month this month for a little bit. But I will probably finish it. I have like 3 of the 4 keys required to leave the court. So I will probably get the 4th key and finish the game without like completely exploring everything there is to do.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't regret playing it. I do think it's interesting and gave me stuff to like chew on. It just, the stuff I'm chewing on feels a little bitter, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, I did read there was a really interesting critique I read from Willa Rowe, I think, that was like looking at it through theatrical theory and why this same sort of twist doesn't really work for them from that perspective.
Interesting.
That I thought was like clarifying to why my feelings were like that too. So yeah.
I was interested in Titanium Court because the Kasumi creator was posting about it. It looked interesting, so I might pick it up at some point if you don't get to the end and go, that was awful. So
yeah, I don't think I will go, that was awful. I think it just,
let's see. I'll do my ball pit thing here. So we talked about ball pit on the show last week, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
I've continued playing a little more. I've unlocked, I guess, 3 worlds so far. Something about ball pit I think is ultimately a little too simple for it to quite scratch the same part of my brain that some of these other ones do. Even relative to Vampire Survivors, I think like something about the playing of it or the strategy around what balls to take like starts to feel a little arbitrary to me. I've started to think a little bit about some synergies with the character and the things that I'm picking in the level and whatnot, but it does. Whereas, eventually in Vampire Survivors, you get to there's just a billion things on screen, rah, thing. It feels like there's a little bit more strategy to what you pick and how you utilize it and like how that impacts how you are playing. And I'm not like quite feeling that in my ball pit experience yet. Mm-hmm. I think I will unlock all the levels, and like it's a nice game to play to like reset your brain while you're working on something or whatever as a break on the train sometimes. I've not yet missed my stop because of that, I'll say. Not yet. Could happen. I missed my stop the other day just because I was spacing out. So definitely could happen. And it's not happened because of ball pit. I cannot bring myself to care about the city management part.
That's fair.
It's because there's no stakes to it. Like, I care about, like, I'm building new buildings. I'm, like, bouncing my guys off those buildings. I'm unlocking new characters. I care about that. But all the reviewers who reported, oh, I thought that at first, and then I got really into maximizing it. I'm like, who cares? I'll just do another run and then come back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no, if I do bad, who cares? I play another 12 minutes of the game, and then I can come back and I can harvest more wood. I am not a game reviewer who has to optimize my scaling here. I can just sort of let my dudes run around, build the buildings moderately fast, and then move on. And it's just there's so many things. It's like, oh, if it bounces here, they go faster. If it bounces here, they harvest the wood. It's just like, there's too much. There's too much on the screen. There's too many things for me to want to like minutely move my city around every single time. Maybe if there were things they had to bounce that then had like an impact on my run, I might be thinking about it, but it seems all like the city's in the city. And you build buildings that impact your characters, of course, but the city's in the city, and then the pit is the pit. And I hope it stays that way, because I don't really want to have to think more about the city than I am. That being said, I will play more of it, but I don't feel the same. Like, while I'm playing it, I have some of that, oh, I could go again feeling. I don't feel the same, ooh, I could be playing that.
Sure.
As I do with some of its brethren, or did with some of its brethren. That said, when I have played several runs, I do see it on the back of my eyelids. So, with that, take that for what it's worth. That yeah, something about the fundamental gameplay here is a little too passive for me to quite latch on in the same way.
Sure. Well, good.
Yeah, probably for the best. Probably for the best.
All right, I'll do my little mini dad game theme arc here.
Dad May.
I played Opus Prism Peak. Opus is like a anthology series of games, of which I've had the others on my backlog for quite a while. But I played this one. It's their first like full 3D title, which is very impressive because I think it's quite impressive looking for being a first attempt at like a full 3D game. It's also a photography game, so the way you progress through the story is by going around different environments and taking photos of things, and showing those photos to various characters, and so on.
It looked for a minute like there was going to be a big boom of those games that I think didn't quite happen. Photography,
I do think I should do a photography month. That's a good game theme month, I think.
You're welcome.
Because I think there is always consistently photography games that I think can be quite different from each other.
There's just that moment with Pokemon Snap and with Yakuza having Sicko Snap and with whatever the one, I can't remember what it was called.
It's not like an auto
sorry. I know that, but there was I know. There were those games that came out, and at the same time, whatever that game was where you're like kind of a renegade photographer. You know the game I'm talking about?
Oh, Umurangi Generation.
Yes. Like that all kind of came out in a period together, and it was like, wait, maybe photography is what games are going to be now.
Yeah.
And then we made Vampire Survivors, and all games had to be that. Just kidding. Go on.
So you play as Eugene, who's like a 40-year-old man whose life has sort of gradually, with fits and starts, like sort of gone down the drain. He's going home for like a delayed funeral for his long missing grandfather. And on the way home, he goes through a tunnel and has some sort of car wreck. And when he comes to, he's in a different world. With it is definitely very Ghibli inspired.
Yeah, I mean, tunnel to a different world.
Very Spirited Away, yeah. Very Mononoke, and also like I got some similarities to like some weird deep cuts, like when Marnie was there and Only Yesterday. But unlike a lot of things that I think are Ghibli inspired, mostly for the vibes and like the whimsy.
Yeah, good looking.
This
food.
one I felt like was using it for their own purposes and to tell their own story,
like
right?
Playing
Rather
with the
than
themes, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It felt like the Ghibli aspect of it was like working towards what they were trying to do, more than it was just like, remember the animal people?
Yeah.
There are animal people in this. So Eugene finds a girl who's sort of collapsed on the side of the road, who insists that she needs to climb up to the top of the mountain, but is probably too weak to do so by herself. So Eugene decides that in trying to figure out what's going on and how he can get back to his world, that he will take her to the top of the peak. And you start to get the sense that you meet all these like animal creatures and you're taking photos of things, and you start to realize that you're sort of going back through Eugene's memories and the memories of people that were in his life and the way that they saw him at different parts of his life. So the theme of the photography is like being able to look clearly at people and like understand them.
So right. Baby steps with a camera.
Yeah. Except for the girl who later names herself Ren, who he cannot see in his camera.
So like baby steps crossed with Aiko.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. There was a few times where I thought the story was going to go in a different direction than it did, but I still like the direction that it went with. And I think it was very effective for the sort of story it was trying to tell. There's a lot of talking, like a lot of themes about like rural areas, you know, sort of being bought up by companies and industrialized, right? And sort of ruined in a way, right? And also a lot of talk of like indigenous practices and stuff like that, that I found I just thought it was very well put together, sort of dad game experience. And then on the other side of the spectrum, I also played Pragmata. The World Ends With You like. So how could I not, you know?
Yeah.
So Pragmata, you play as this guy named Hugh. You've been sent to this lunar base that's stopped responding to like signals being sent to it to try to figure out what's going on, if they have like broken equipment or whatever. And there's a moonquake and all your team dies and you fall down a hole and are found by Diana, who is a pragmata, who has the appearance of a 6-year-old girl, who uses the cool space equipment to fix you. But you quickly realize that all the bots in this facility have been taken over by the overseer AI called Edis, and they want to kill you.
Uh-oh.
But you want to, you know, get back to Earth, contact Earth to try to tell them what's going on here, right? So Hugh's got his gun and his cool spacesuit that lets him boost around, but it doesn't do much to these bots on their own. So Diana, who is a bot herself, although unaffected by Edis's commands, is able to use hacking to create vulnerabilities in the bots that Hugh can then exploit with his cool space gadgets. So you're simultaneously like moving Hugh around a 3D space and doing sort of general third-person shooter type things. And you have a hacking grid that appears on screen that you move through with the face buttons in order to
I see
sort of
the world
expose
view like of this, yes.
the enemy. So you have to do like the hacking to do stuff. There's also like special nodes you can move through in the hacking matrix that will have various effects on the robots. And then you also have to use Hugh's various arsenal of weapons to, take out the enemies as well. So you're playing two different characters at the same time. You're having to balance the two different sort of forms of gameplay at the same time and sort of think strategically about which hacking nodes you want to use, which weapons you want to use, so on and so forth. You also, bond with Diana. There's a base that you find and you collect things called REMs, which are Read Earth memories that can create like synthetic versions of Earth toys.
Cool.
And stuff. So you can collect new toys that while you're upgrading your equipment or doing other stuff in the base, Diana's just playing with her toys. Definitely a game where I'm like, it's very popcorn story, right? It's not doing anything particularly deep on the narrative level, but extremely fun toy, right?
Yeah.
You press the buttons and your brain goes, yippee! And I was thinking about this. I was like, can a game be a toy? And in some ways I feel like that's kind of the ethos behind it, because clearly deep appreciation for toys on the like number and scope of toys you can get for Diana.
Right, is
the
there,
way that
it's built in.
Yes, she engages with the world mainly through play. And so like, yeah, toys are cool. Sometimes you need a good toy.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So yeah, I had a very fun time with it. I feel like maybe there was like an hour they could have shaved out of it, but that might be because I kept doing the bad platforming challenges, even though I was not having fun. I just kept like automatically pressing retry, even when I thought like I should stop retrying. Want to retry. So that might be on me, not on the game.
Yeah.
But generally, I didn't like completionist it. I found collectibles as I went and occasionally went back for like one specific thing when I got like a new... Diana occasionally gets like new abilities that open up new areas. So I occasionally went back for those, but mostly just ran straight through it. And had a very good time. And like, don't bother reading anything about it, because people were insane about this game for strange reasons. So
that's a good variation on the don't read anything, just play it.
Don't read anything. Something about this game broke people's brains.
Just play it. Well, speaking of games with popcorn stories and that feature hacking elements, my May finish, although maybe I may finish another game in May. Crazy, I know.
You'll make up for February if you finish another game in May. So.
I know, which is not really the point of the resolution. I've finished more than 12 games most years.
Sure.
But whatever. Yes, you're right. I finished Dispatch. I think that last time I played about half. I think I played about 4 episodes, maybe 3 the last time. And so I finished the remaining 4 or 5 in this 6 weeks, and really mostly in the last like week or 2. I have a lot of good things and a lot of like things I think about this game. Good things. So Dispatch, if you don't remember, right, you play as a former mech superhero with no powers, Robert Robertson III, who your mech suit loses its power source in a villain situation, and so you have to take a job dispatching heroes through the superhero dispatch network, I think is what SDN stands for. Mm-hmm. And you're working with the Z team, who are the worst of the worst, the reformed villains, and who gradually become your ragtag group of heroes, blah, blah, blah. So good things. I think I've said this every time I've talked about it on the show. I think the episodic, like, TV show, not movie inspired storytelling here, I would love to see more takes on. I really liked that about this. I liked that I could sit down and say, this is going to be 45 minutes, and I'll have played a chunk. And that scratches the check something off on my brain. It was like a nice, the sort of structure of it being relatively predictable of we have a little bit of story, we have the hero dispatching point, we have a little bit of story was nice. I liked that. And I think that's very different. Like, obviously these are ex-Telltale devs creating this game, and so it has that choice-based element. What I liked about this was that it wasn't like, well, maybe this is an hour and a half, or maybe it's 4 hours. Like, what I liked the structure of it. That being said, there should have been a theme song.
Yeah.
100%, no question. Should have been a 30-second opener to every episode. And if they wanted to do a different one each time, I could accept that, but there should have been a theme song at the beginning of each.
Yeah.
After the cold open, maybe, whatever.
I mean, come on. Did we learn nothing from To a T? Yes. Nobody learned anything from To a T.
Did we learn nothing? Like, they had that basically in Tales from the Borderlands. And
yeah,
it was great.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, just take those two things. Put them together. To a T, right, actually is like the only other really good example I could think of like, this is a TV show.
Yeah.
I would like to see more of that. That's cool, and it fits my adult life. Let's see. As Emma and I have both talked about, the superhero dispatching portion of the game is very fun. It's like good cabaret club vibes.
They might be making an infinite mode, I've heard.
That's cool.
That.
I would try that. I would like some of the interface to work a little better.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I sometimes missed calls because I just couldn't get it to, I like couldn't tell what I was selecting, or I couldn't get it to select the right thing. And if I had a touch screen, it would have been easy.
I remember I had a glitch. I think it was a glitch in one episode where every call triggered at the same time at the start.
Oh, that is a glitch, I think.
But it was in the episode where they're like, I think after like you would cut one of them and everyone was like, we're so overworked. And so I thought it was like a joke.
No, that sounds like a glitch. I don't remember.
I think it was a glitch.
Like that bad. That's insane. There were some laugh out loud, mad funny moments. In the final episode, I wrote down for myself because I cackled. Like, there's a hero that comes back utilizing somebody else's augmented powers, basically, that impacts some of what he looks like, not to spoil the game. And somebody said, you're like a French soccer player that's going through something. And I laughed loud. Like, there's plenty of like jokes that are like sort of dumb and don't really land, but every once in a while they get a zinger in there that is really funny. So I'll give it the mad funny crown here. I think there's some good humor that actually did. Like, I laughed at something in almost every episode. Yeah. Which was cool. Okay, so now let me get to the so this game is not trying to do anything like crazy on a narrative perspective. I did sort of appreciate how at the end they tied a little bit of like the choice, like this is a game about making choices, and then like the supervillain is kind of trying to, you know, never have to make choices, right? I was like, okay, like nice little Ludo narrative through line here. I'll give you the pat on the head for that. But and I got to the end of the game and I thought, oh, how clever. Like, they've set up some plot elements to happen here in this, like, you know, fighting the supervillains. Are we redeeming some of our characters or aren't we? There's, like, romance elements, but I felt like I got to an ending where it was like, oh, neat. Like, they tied this up in a bow that's probably relatively satisfying regardless of which of these sort of more binary paths you may have taken. And like they've made it so that the differences in path at the end are small enough that we can probably start a season 2 without the big challenge of all of these games, which is like you end up with so many permutations that somebody is going to be mad at you. Yeah. Right? I was like, okay, like really the only variations here are like, are you in blonde blazer? involved in some way, and like maybe something with did you invite the hero that you cut back, right? And then I get to my little decision point screen at the end, and it's like, oh, you know that big thing with your work situationship that you, Madeline, thought was like a narrative choice the game made that like probably made sense pretty much regardless of how you interacted with her. Too bad, buddy. Most players actually saved her.
Yep.
What the heck?
I can say, so I got this ending too.
Emma and I seem to have gotten the exact same ending, which makes this so much less. Well, one, it makes us women of taste, frankly. Yeah. But two, makes this much less interesting discussion.
So when it happened, I was like, dang, I like that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I like this as an ending.
Well, especially because I told Chase I would never kill someone, right? And then I watch her kill someone, I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Setting aside that I think, like, taking the dog capture was, like, stupid.
I know. I was along for that ride, though. I was like, you know, I kind of wanted Beef to turn out to have, like, some kind of very significant superpower or whatever, and, like, that's why. I agree with you that the dog capture being like, yes, I'm going to hand over everything for my dog was a little dumb, but I was willing to ride with that. I was like, this game has not been so serious throughout that I can't ride with Beef being important here.
But yeah, then I got to the credits and it was like, it's your fault. I really don't like the framing. Choice. So it's cumulative.
I know. But like that's why I thought it was so clever. I was like, oh, she does this and like I don't have an opportunity to stop her. Yeah. And then to discover that it's because I felt punished for making choices. I started to notice this about episode 6. I was like, okay, I'm going to make choices here. Like, I'm recognizing the choice that I could make that is, like, the good choice, right? Or the optimistic choice, or whatever. But this is a game that's structured like a TV show. Let me try to play this in a way and make some choices that aren't, like, me, the video game player, trying to optimize. Like, let me make some choices that maybe feel a little bit more true to the character in this moment. So, like, I'm not gonna immediately forgive her for, like, the destruction of my super suit and also betraying the team. And, I'm not gonna forgive her for 6 things at once. I'm gonna say, I don't know, maybe give me a day. And I think that means that I blew everything up.
So, so there's a lot of... I looked this up on Steam community threads. There's a lot of people being like, I feel like this must be bugged at the beginning. It's not.
No.
Just for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So the 2 choices that I think locked me into this ending was, one, I cut her from the team.
I cut her from the team too.
Yes.
Because she was my girlfriend. If she hadn't been my girlfriend, I might have kept her on the team.
Well,
but I sort of
for
felt
me,
like
it was like
everyone.
I couldn't push back against cutting someone first, right?
Yeah.
And so because she was my girlfriend, I'm like, well, we're not cutting her, even though I cut radar, I think.
Sonar. Yeah, me
Sonar.
too.
And that just felt like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Ethically, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I had been able to push back against cutting someone early, then maybe I felt like I could have justified it, but that was just not a choice that you could make. Yeah. And 2, in the episode prior to that, when I said I'm Robert, not I'm Mecha Man.
Me too.
Yep, wow, that's exactly what locked you into the ending. This is so boring for us
to talk about because we played the same game. Cool.
Those are the 2 choices that locked you into that.
Really?
Yep.
Why would I tell them I'm Mecha Man? Flambe would have killed me.
It's about, be honesty, right? But I really liked the scene after you say I'm Robert and everybody else gives their real name. Like, I really like that scene. And that's how I felt in the moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like... But yes, upon investigation, those are probably the 2 choices that led to your ending.
Huh. Well, ultimately, I guess I'll say, and we were pre-gaming this a tiny bit before the show, I ultimately think this was a good, I was like, oh, this was a satisfying season of television.
Yeah.
Here. And probably it ending up in a quote-unquote happier way is maybe a less satisfying season of television.
Yeah.
But I was so excited. I was like, what a fun way to have set up a second season. Like, she's the villain. And there's any number of things that kind of led to that, but that variation probably doesn't matter too much. I was like, wow, you all really cracked the code here of making me feel like I made some choices that were interesting, but still being able to tell a second season of what turned into, like, a very popular game.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they do it now.
Yeah. I don't know either.
And I feel like I've heard some, like, glimmers of discussion of, and I don't say that, like, I know one of the writers for this game, but, like, this is not me. Like, I haven't talked to Mayana about this. I've heard some, like, glimmers of discussion of season 2 online, I feel like. But, and of course there has to be, because it was really successful. And yeah, at the beginning of that last episode, I was like, oh, you know, like, probably they'll have to tell the story with, like, a totally different group. And then I was so impressed when they managed to pull it together into something that I was like, that's the ending! How cool! Yeah. And then I was devastated. And also, apparently, I didn't move fast enough for anyone to love me.
Yeah, I think you get the even if you tried to romance Invisigirl, if you get that ending, it counts you as not in a relationship. Yeah. But it's phrased weirdly because it sounds like you didn't do any romance at all.
I just didn't think it was appropriate to date my boss. And I didn't really think it was appropriate to date my coworker either.
Yeah.
But, like, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, it was fun. It was a fun.
It was fun. Thing. I was glad I played it. I had a fun time with it. Again, I would play a season 2. I'm just now like,
how do they do it?
Like, I don't understand how you pick up from here.
I mean, especially since I feel like it must be a deceptively expensive game, because it's animated like a TV show.
Yeah,
and that costs more. So
yeah.
If they have to do like 2 different versions of, even if it's just like the first episode somehow, and they establish a status quo after that. But
I mean, what they're gonna have to do is pull it back that she somehow make some excuse for her to not be a villain and rejoin the team, which is fine. You can probably justify that. My Robert was like, I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
Chilling with the beer with Blonde Blazer. But, like, yeah, I don't know. I thought that I was like, oh, come on. You almost had it. You almost had it here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope Beef gets superpowers.
Me too. All right, my last 2.
Woo!
My Memoir May entries.
Memoir May.
Yes, I've done 2 of them. I played Consume Me first, which I quite liked. And definitely...
It was fun. I had a fun time with the systems in Consume Me.
I feel like the title and tagline are sort of left over, as the game itself acknowledges near the end, from a different version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it presents itself as more about disordered eating than it actually is.
I agree with that. It's there, which is probably realistic, but I agree that the marketing... Anyway,
yes, like the disordered eating is more an expression of a general need for control over life.
Yeah.
That the protagonist has, and is expressing that through like calorie reduction, essentially. Yeah. Or bite reduction, since they use like the fictional. But like at the end, there's sort of a montage of even like making the game a little bit, which like one of the checklists has like binging and purging scene on it, right? So at some point they were thinking, we're gonna make this more about disordered eating generally, but the game itself is more sort of a coming of age thing through a female perspective, which is cool, right?
I mean, she ultimately, this is a very simplistic way of saying this, I expected the game to eventually have a punishment for the eating.
Yeah.
And ultimately she gets away with it, which is, again, like, to a certain extent, I mean, I'm sure true to life, more real, less stereotypical, like, people do it and then eventually turn their lives around or don't, or things change or whatever.
Yeah, I think there was like one discussion from like the end section where it was like, and then I just kind of eventually just kind of stopped, right, doing it, which it might be more complicated than that. I do appreciate, like, I have been appreciating in playing these memoir games, like, both that they are so selective about what truth they share with you, and then so open about the fact that they are sharing only selective parts of the truth
Right.
with you, in both of their approaches, which I found very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And I certainly related, I didn't, I didn't really have disordered eating when I was in high school, but I certainly had checklists.
Sure.
I certainly had arbitrary little checklists that
Yeah.
I did. So in that extent, and the general worries that Jenny had, during the story
Mm-hmm.
at different points were something where I was like, oh yeah, that's very high. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do not, I mean, I didn't have to take biology or statistics or whatever, but college was more relaxing for me than high school. So that part was a little like, that's not my experience.
All of
but
the like, oh, I'm panicked about studying did not quite resonate with me as
I didn't really have
who
to
has
take
just
tests.
never had to feel that way in my life.
I mean, I just didn't really have to take tests in college even. Like I studied for my AP tests and certainly my SAT, right? Were things I was worried about. But in college I was mostly writing essays. So a little bit of a different experience there. But I still got the gist,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the like escalating, like getting up in the morning cutscenes at like different parts and how extensive they became over time with the same sort of like breezy music on top.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I got an A-. I saw you got an A+.
Oh, I got
achievement list.
I killed it.
I got an A-. Darn.
That's okay.
I would have, you know what though? I would like to say, and I'm not reflecting on what this says about me, but I would have aced that biology test.
Sure.
At the end.
Yeah.
I had the 100 before the boyfriend broke up with me,
Yeah.
So I'm just like to say I was ready.
Yeah. No, I really like Consumi. Consumi definitely one of my favorites from last year. I'd be interested to hear a low achieving person's take on that game.
I definitely have.
I mean that's such a harsh way of saying that. I'd be interested to hear someone for whom like high school was bad. I mean, there were plenty of things about high school that were bad, but like many of the things that and like there's much like that's very relatable to me. But like I'd be interested to hear from someone who's a little less type A about the experience of what this game is.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, good game, well put together game. I think it got across what it needed to get across. And yeah, just don't go really into it expecting it to be like a portrayal or nuanced discussion of like disordered eating. Based on, how it presents itself up front, because I don't think that really is. And then I played Despelote, which is about soccer. So you play as Julian, who's a little kid during the time when Ecuador is going to qualify for the World Cup for the first time, or has the chance to. And you play little snippets in the kid's life, during which time there's the soccer game is also going on. And of course, little Julian is totally soccer obsessed and just wants to go kick the ball around with his little friends. And kick various other things, bottles, balloons.
Anything can be a ball.
Anything can be a ball. Tried really hard every time to get back in time.
Yeah, I know.
But I think that you can't.
Yeah.
I almost did it the time I was supposed to be watching my sister, but I tried to go back without my sister because I totally lost her. And Mom was just like, "Where's your sister?"
Oh no.
And I had to run back and like search the whole park, and then we were over an hour late getting back after I'd found her. I was really doing my best to keep track of her too. She just disappeared on me somehow. Yeah. But I really liked, in an interesting way, it takes like almost the exact same approach as Consume Me.
Yeah, I was thinking about that while you were talking about these two. I was like, they kind of, the ending for both is kind of the same idea.
Yeah. So it's semi-based on the developer's experiences, but he was like 4 years younger at the time when this was going on. So he aged up himself in the story to sort of make it more of like an active experience. And there are also scenes sort of woven in the story of him later in life and what feels like slightly more honest explorations of his time sort of on the junior team and how little he lasted there, and generally just sort of his teen life in general, as well as like very sort of surreal sort of sequences of different like soccer, just kicking the ball around in like infinite space, or taking the little video game version of soccer outside of the stadium and just kicking the ball around with some buddies and then going home. And then it sort of ends with like he's been narrating the whole time, but it opens up to being like, yes, hello, I am the developer narrating to you, talking about like how I was younger, and this is the real park, the 3D scan of the real park you can run around in. And when we went there, we had to hire a bodyguard to get sounds because we couldn't take that high expensive equipment in there without a bodyguard. And I really liked it. It's I did it one sitting, very short experience.
Me too, I think.
But it's an interesting approach to memoir to like pick like this sort of one focused event in sort of your history and your country's history, and like examining it more deeply, and also like sort of thinking about how even if you experienced it differently in reality, it's like reverberated through your own life experience in a different way.
Yeah, I really ought to reread the things they carried sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like the sort of the emotional truth of this and the like fudging the facts to get it, like what the actual impact was, or how to convey that to someone else, feels, as I remember the themes of that book, which granted I have not read in 15 years.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. It does feel kind of like that.
Yeah.
Of like it's true, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
But also just interesting themes tied to like accomplishment and not really needing, the accomplishment necessarily of just wanting to have a ball that you can kick around with your friends and have a dumb little conversation with them.
Yeah.
Which is how the game closes, essentially. And even if, Ecuador hasn't really been back to the World Cup, the way that soccer is still, important.
Yeah.
As
you can love something without being great
casual
at it.
action. Yeah.
You can love something without having to continue to ascend the ladder on it. It can still be something you want to do.
Yeah. So yeah, very good. Should I send mail to them?
Sure.
And get a little prize?
Yeah.
I put in the link that appears at the end of the credits, and it gives you instructions for, you can mail something to them and they'll mail you something back.
You have to imagine this game is about to double its sales, right? The World Cup coming up.
Oh, yeah. True.
So I hope they're ready to, their postage. Alright, I'll close it out on the teen theme. I was a teenage exocolonist. I think I just turned 14. So, big changes in the colony.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this so far. It took me like a minute to get into it, I think, and now I'm rocking and rolling. My numbers are going up, baby. The description of the game is pretty much in the title. Your parents took you from a, slightly alternate future Earth, where all sorts of things have been destroyed, to be the first colonists, exo, on a new planet, and you're like building the colony, and you're there with your friends, and also you're a teenager dealing with teenage things. Does your best friend die no matter what? No matter who you pick? Or did I pick bad?
You picked bad.
No way! Really? That sucks!
It's her every time.
No! Wow, I'm so upset by that. I was like, oh, that's crazy that they just kill off your best friend. No!
You picked Juicy, so it's okay.
I guess that's true. Dang. Wow.
I don't remember who I picked the first time to be my best friend. I don't remember.
Anyway, this game is a card game, ultimately. And all the time you are confronted with challenges when you do things where you have to arrange your cards that are based on your memories in straights and flushes and whatnot, and numbers to hit a certain score, and then your points go up and whatnot. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm looking for. I stayed up too late last night, like being like, I'm gonna finish this year.
I mean, do you remember when I played this? I had played it like 3 times in like a week, essentially. I got really into it.
Yeah. It's very easy to just kind of like, oh, one more turn. Yeah. One more turn. One more turn. Keep it going. I can't tell if I'm doing good or not.
You're 14, so, plenty of life left to go.
I've decided that McExo is not that smart.
Oh yeah, what are you focusing on?
Well, I have a really high biology score because I was afraid of my dad dying. I was like, oh no, like biology is the path to make sure his lungs don't collapse, so better learn. But I have essentially no reasoning and no engineering.
Fair.
So I'm gonna be a brawny, like, science YouTuber.
That sounds like a good niche, honestly.
Right? Like, honestly, not the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to hopefully leading a rebellion against these new dudes.
Oh yeah, the new people have arrived.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like how in this, like, it puts you in the kid's perspective, but of course as a player you're an adult and therefore somewhat able to pick up on, like, the more serious things going on. It's interesting, I think.
People kept dying right after I, like, had a notable interaction with them, and I kept feeling like I caused this. Like, I went exploring, and I, like, the guy, like, found me and brought me home, and then he died. And I think it's just bad luck, but McExo's pretty scarred.
A little cursed, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing, where your adolescence takes you.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see. I feel like I can max out all my stats, right? It seems like a thing that's possible to achieve.
Probably. Yeah, that seems... That's why you've got all those points in reasoning. Oh, wait.
Oh. I'm not giving anyone any gifts. Is that okay?
You're not giving anyone any gifts?
I gave one gift and they didn't like it.
Oh. Well, they will like stuff. It's probably fine, but it's been a while since I've played this, for what it's worth, so I don't remember exactly how all the mechanics work, but I think it's just a way to get characters to like you more. So.
I don't need friends.
Fair enough.
Well, stay tuned for more on that in 6 weeks, but listener, this has been another episode of Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
How would you depict your teenage years in a video game? What other themes did we talk? Should more games be like TV shows? Should more games have hacking in them? Should more games be like dollhouses? Who do you think are the characters that are dating that Emma doesn't want to be dating in her Tomodachi life? If you have thoughts about this or anything else we talked about this week, hit us up on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Blue Sky at Talk This Podcast. You can also visit our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can read all about the show, check out the games in the hat, and read our blog. But most importantly, if you enjoy the show, you ought to subscribe. We're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts, online on the app, Overcast, Pocket Cast, wherever you can find podcasts. Go ahead and subscribe to Talk This so you never miss an episode on Sundays. I don't remember next week's games even a little bit.
Our old game was Hearthstone.
Right. Guess I'll have to re-download that. That probably won't be good for me.
I'll try to, next time we can try to pick stuff that aren't addictive. And our new game is Mio Memories in Orbit.
So look forward to that. And then somehow my side quest.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Thanks for listening. Emma, sign us off.
This week, I hope that you don't fail everyone around you.